Hey everyone, welcome to Keep Shooting Monday number 80. 80 of these things we've done. That's a lot. My name is Greg Cazillo from Cazillo.com.
And I'm Kathy Azar from Catherine Azar Photography.
So we're continuing our series for the next few weeks because of our photo assignment sponsored by Epson. That photo assignment is to get your photos out of the computer, or if you still have film, to get them printed off of the negative. Do something with them, something creative. And so last week we covered a bunch of different ideas. This week we're covering a bunch more. And so I thought we'd start out with these little note cards. Excellent. Have you ever done these? Have you ever printed these yourself or done anything with them?
Nope.
So what I do is, we've done these a lot of times. We actually get the paper from Red River Paper. They have a really great selection of different note card papers and envelopes and linens and all kinds of stuff that you can actually print right on with your inkjet printer if you would like. And actually have the Lightroom template that I'm going to be giving away for free. You can download those templates. The bottom of each email newsletter, you can download that. So the updated version of the templates will include the one for this, and you just need to rotate your logo.
I was going to say, does it have a place for the logo on the little template?
It does. You're going to need to resize the logo so that it fits yours, but it fits mine very well. So you drop your photo in. It's actually really easy. This is a half sheet of paper is basically all this is. And so I cut it in half, and then I scored it. There's a couple, or folded it. You can either score it with a scoring machine, which is basically a jig that allows you to do it consistently all the time. Or you can do it manually by putting the paper up against something, a hard surface, or a wall, or something like that, up against a table, and then folding it over by lining it up, and it gives you a nice clean edge. The scoring, I think, is a little bit nicer. Mm-hmm. And you said you like that because
you could deliver it to your client in a box, and then they could fold them themselves after they write in them.
Yeah.
Just the easier, cleaner delivery.
Yep. These particular ones are actually double-sided, which I needed for another project, but it works for this too, and a glossy.
Can you write on the glossy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you might need a little bit different pen. You might not be able to use a ballpoint pen.
Right.
Use a felt tip pen or something like that would, but
Sharpie.
yeah, you can write on that definitely. So they're a real nice note card. Nice little product if you want to offer it for sale, or if you want to just use it as a gift or something like that. So,
same thing with Christmas cards.
Christmas cards are
the long
huge.
ones, the shorter postcardy style, and you can make it as cards too, the foldable cards with Christmas, all sorts of things that you could do. A
lot of people like to write on the Christmas cards, so when you order your paper, make sure the back of the paper is blank.
Yeah.
You don't want it to say Epson, Watermark, or whoever the company is. It's not that it's a bad thing, it's just that it doesn't look as good, so you just make sure that the back of your paper is blank. Most of your matte papers usually are blank, just so you know. It's usually your glossy papers that have some kind of a watermark or something on the back. So they're a neat thing.
Sometimes you don't do things for clients, you do things for self-promotion. These are Greg's postcards that he uses with an image that he took of this cute little girl behind the tree. That's adorable.
It is.
And along those lines, there's some other things that you've done with their Epson that I didn't even know you could do.
These things are really cool. The first one that I did is this guy. This was a poster that actually I leave on the table. I lay on a table when I'm out and showing or selling or doing something with them. So just lay that on a table, and it just looks good, and it fits the table. It hangs over a little bit. If you had a wider printer and wanted to order it somewhere, you can actually have it hang over the front. That's how we usually do them, is we have them hang over the front, and that will, when it hangs over the front, you have a little bit of a banner in the front, or you can just print two of them and print one, one for the front, one for the back, and so they work out.
And you also have some that you've put holes in, the grommets in, that you can hang from the back of the tent. When we've done sports before together.
Yep. This guy actually has the little holes already punched in. We have a machine. I think we only paid like maybe $100 for the machine and a bunch of these little grommet things. And this is basically just mat board, photo, put it on mat board, and then grommets on the holes. Again, all this kinds of self-promotion stuff. It's easy to do this kind of layout in Photoshop and put it together, and you're done. So simple stuff. You could put prices on there if you needed to, and it's inexpensive, and you're done.
When we were pulling things out from the back of things to show you, I asked him to pull out this because this made a big difference. There's a big bike race that we've shot together the last couple of years, and people ride by and they don't pay a whole lot of attention to you. This really made a difference.
Yep.
Smile for the photographer, and people did. They laughed at this, so this was very helpful, and it's just a print that's been mounted onto this plastic board.
Yep. This is actually, these are considered to be yard signs, and I forget the name of this actual board. I'll put it up on the down below. But anyway, this is basically just your normal outdoor signboard with a special paper that I ordered from LexJet. So I printed it on the Epson 7800 on a 24-inch size, cut it down, mounted it. It actually has a sticky back, and then you get the little yard sign holders. It's actually really inexpensive and great self-promotion, great way to get your name out, especially if you're at events. So,
and that was actually an event where you were printing on site, which is why he had that. So you had your printer there, and you were printing right then and there.
Exactly. So, yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
Okay, here's another thing mounted on a board that could be sports related, but my first one, or not, it's not my first one, but the one I have with me was not. It was dogs. Oftentimes it's athletes, and you have the athletes posed along here. I love these. This is from a company called Candid Color Systems, who I just adore. You'll hear me say, I love that company, or I adore this, because I won't talk about it if I don't.
Yep.
So I'm either one or the other.
Way.
So
someone actually emailed me the other day about endorsing a product, and I said, look, if I don't like it, I'm not going to endorse it. If I wouldn't use it myself, I'm not going to endorse it.
And I have to love it. And I love this company. They're fantastic to deal with. Every time I've called them, I've had a couple of complications uploading things just because I was using Safari and Firefox was the better one. They're fantastic on the phone. Very Southern hospitality. They're based in Oklahoma. Good. Anyway, the way you do these, and again, I've done these for sports too. I just did my son's all-star team. You take individual pictures and they put it together for you. So once you shoot, you are finished. They create this for you. So you shoot your biggest client first, whether it's your tallest baseball player or your biggest dog or whatnot, first, and then you keep your focal length the same and you keep your distance from the subject the same. Yep. The reason for that is you don't want Dolce to look bigger than Pearl if you change your settings.
You would think it would be the other way around though. You would think this one would be Pearl and that one would be Dolce.
Well, Pearl, if you watch SpongeBob SquarePants, Pearl is the big whale in SpongeBob SquarePants.
Well, that's why I wouldn't know that.
Exactly. So you also want to keep your subject on a flat surface versus on the grass, because when they cut out, they don't want grass peeking out around the toes. So I just did this. This
more
was
editing.
Exactly. For
Unless you want to incorporate the grass, if you were doing this yourself, do it in Photoshop, print yourself or whatever, then it doesn't matter. You could very easily do that and include that. But something like this with the white background, it wouldn't work.
Yeah, they have a ton of different backdrops, and you can sometimes choose the flooring and the back. You can choose what words go both places. So for my son's team, we had the name of the team, and then All Stars 2014 on the bottom. I think we had All Stars on the top. Whatever, doesn't matter. So you can choose a baseball field with a cool backdrop. People do dancing, all sorts of crazy things that they have for you to do. And then it's mounted. You can have it mounted or just have it as the poster and sell to the clients.
Yeah, it's a nice heavy mount board.
It is. And I usually price it such that if the team buys 2 or 3, it's a certain price. So the more they buy, the cheaper it is. So they encourage other parents in the team to buy more. So that is mutually beneficial.
Yep.
Another thing to do
with
your prints. This is not Maggie. This was actually a client's dog. This is a curly coated retriever, and they loved their dog and wanted a picture of it. And customer service is what we're all about. So I actually even hung it in the house. I did not want, she was a little older, and she, actually every time I talked to her, she's like, I'm old, Catherine, I am old. I'm like, you are not that old. She was in her 80s, and she was about to try and hang it herself, and I went, and I hung it for her. But canvases, it's a little different than a normal print. Looks a little bit different on your wall. I love having a grouping of pictures on my wall that are all different. So one might be a canvas, one might be a frame, lots of different things hanging up. Some might be hanging from a ribbon. So I'm doing that up my stairs right now.
That's
so I'll take a
something we
picture.
need to talk about with Bridget, by the way.
Yes.
Is grouping of images and sizing of images on a wall. Because a lot of people don't realize that if you're putting it in a decent sized room, that print needs to be bigger than what you think. An 11 by 14 is small when you're hanging in a room by itself.
And something that's a pet peeve of mine is when people space things out too far and there's too much space, too much white space between the pictures. I like to have them closer together.
Yep.
But canvases are great. You can do them on your own. Epson has a canvas that you can print on. Again, in the interest of time, for me, this is from CG Pro Prints. I think does a great job. Nice and solid, great corners. I like the backing. You say oftentimes it can make it stand out from the wall better, a little bit more, but I have not had a problem with that. So I love this company
Miller's
as well.
and MPix will also
do canvases,
print them
right?
In-house. If you don't have a printer, you don't want to do it yourself, you can do that. Or if you do have a photo printer, you can order that paper and print it in-house.
Prices are really good for CG. That's why I chose those versus
You can
another
also
company.
have it stretched by a professional framer and be done with it.
Yeah.
So
excellent.
Talk about your favorite thing there.
Oh, my favorite thing. This is actually...
Let it fall.
Yeah, things are falling over. This, I would say that scrapbooking was how I got into photography. I've always loved pictures. But by scrapbooking, you realize what you cut off, how much extra space you cut around the picture, and it helped me to have better composition from my pictures. So scrapbooking, the old style scrapbooking isn't as popular. It's kind of faded a little bit, I think, because the new style of scrapbooking has come out with digital. So you can do all of this digitally. All of these are choosable, for lack of a better word. You can choose your font. You can choose your layout. Oftentimes there are layouts.
What's the name of that software again?
There are a couple of different companies that I have used. Creative Memories used to have their own, and Creative Memories has changed their format quite a bit and goes by a different name now even. But the company that developed the software was Panstoria, and so they now have taken over all of the old Creative Memories stuff. So Panstoria, the Creative Memories software was Panstoria, and that's how this one was created, as well as this one.
Have you tried any of the other ones?
Yes, Serif is another one that we used to create my son's yearbook, which was very good too. They're very, very similar. Both has their pros and cons. I liked with Serif, you could work on both pages of the two-page spread at the same time. With the Panstoria, at least the version that I was using for this, you would have to save one page and go over to the second page, and that used to drive me crazy. But they're both great softwares with great different options.
Yep. You can very easily use those software if you did want something that's even, that's like the pinnacle of it. The two major players right now in desktop publishing are InDesign and Quark. Quark is kind of going out. It's not as popular. InDesign, everybody is going towards Adobe InDesign. So if you're a Photoshop user, look at InDesign, especially if you already have the Creative Cloud. InDesign might be a great way to go and to use it for a little while for a project and then get rid of it.
So it does it have all sorts of embellishments and things like that you can use?
Import all that stuff.
So
you need to find that. You need to find those images and import them.
And that's why I'm all about quick and simple. So this was one that I had done for a former school teacher of mine, actually. She gave me all sorts of old photos, and we wanted it to look very antique-y. So all of these embellishments are right in the program. So you can buy, you buy the program, but then you can buy different kits that has, so I don't remember what this one was called, but you bought the kit, and so it has all the pages. Some of them are pre-designed pages, which I never leave as is. I always have to tweak and edit them. But all of these elements can be moved, removed, added in, so I don't have to go looking for them. And one of the
it does give you a big head start.
It does. And one of the important things about scrapbooking is telling the stories. She sat with me for several days and told the stories of her childhood. This is all about her childhood. And we created this album. So as you're going back through them, you have these stories to remember for generations to come. So the old style is the cut and paste. And a lot of people get stymied because they have this whole pile of pictures in a drawer or a shoebox, and they're all mixed up, and I don't know where to start. Just do a themed album. This is an ABC album, so the pictures are random. Not random, they're random, but for letters. Like F, there's a frog in this one, there's a frisbee in this one, a frizzy dog in this one, a football player, a fuzzy face plant. You know, where am I ever going to use that picture again? It's my daughter when she was a newborn, for some reason, was face planted. So that's a good way to go for stuff like that.
So I did this book a few years ago. This book is the reason why I ended up joining the fire service.
I remember.
So I started out
as their photographer.
Yeah, as a photographer there, and so I did a cover for it and some photos at the big group, and went to a couple of jobs and things that were going on, did some photos for them, and also did all the layout and design for each of the pages and all the content in the book. And one of the other guys did the writing.
Scrapbook. It's no different. That is no different.
It's a little different. Here's the difference. This has a different layout style. That's more frilly and fun, and I don't want to say more family-like.
Yes, well,
whereas this is, this is more historical in style, and but it worked out so well, and a really nice book. And I'll flip through a couple pages of the digital version of that. So turned out really well. Loved this book, and something neat that I was able to contribute for their 100th anniversary. So that was a fun one. Another album, which is a typical album, which you would do a lot, is a wedding album. This is a leather-bound wedding album, and then you do the page layouts.
These are getting more popular too for high school seniors.
Yes, yeah, that can be a great way to go. So photos all the way across the page if you want, like a panel like that. That was taken in Philadelphia on the Art Museum steps, which is a great angle of the city. And nice and easy. There's all kinds of software that you can use. I use a software called Lab Prints, which I think is on its way out. I haven't seen any updates for this software in probably 3 or 4 years, something like that.
There's a ton out there, though.
I'm guessing that they're not going to be able to do it. The thing I liked about this company, though, was that you can send the prints to millers, and they'll adjust each individual image.
For what?
For processing. So when you send them an image, okay, you send them a stack of individual images. So they can, if say this photo is a little bit off color, or the black and white of this is a little off, they can adjust those individual colors and things in those images, and done. They can do those adjustments and tweak it and make it absolutely perfect, which was great. And that's why I like that Lab Prints software. But I don't know that, I know it's still supported at Miller's, but I don't know that they're going to keep making the software, which makes me sad because it was really good software. Oh well, what are you going to do? So albums, what else do we talk about today? Self-promotion. Yep. So we're going to have some more stuff for you coming up in the next couple of weeks before the photo assignment is due. You do have to get them in by, what day did we say?
22nd, I believe.
2nd of August. I'll put that down in the title bar again. So get your photos posted over there of the product that you make. Try to be creative with that photo that you're creating. It was right. It was right. So I think that is it. So coming up as a teaser, we're going to have a special one with a picture framer. We're going to actually be on location with Bridget, who's my favorite picture framer. And again, more DIY photo ideas coming up for this photo assignment sponsored by Epson. What do we call it again? We called it Just Print It?
Just Print It.
Yep. Good. So thanks, guys. Keep shooting. See ya.